my video series, The Heroine's Journey. I'm Susanna Liller, and it's time to find your happiness. So we have been doing videos together. Hopefully you've been with me. This is number 11 about the heroine's journey. We've talked about what is the journey, what's the hero's journey, what's the heroine's journey, why are they different? I've shown you the map that I created about the journey. We've talked about the call, refusal of the call, and now we've been talking about what comes up when we have some kind of exciting plan or goal or dream and we've decided to do it, and what stops us in the journey terminology called threshold guardians. And we've talked about what they say. And typically, here's some that I've got in my book, which is You Are a Heroine. What threshold guardians say is, I will look like a failure, I'll be a loser, I'll feel foolish, I will be alone, I won't be strong enough, it will be too difficult, I will fail. All these negative, this is what's going to happen. And we've talked about how in my classes, in my workshops, in my school for real life heroines, I ask them to think about a goal or a dream, and then what do those negative voices say? What do they come up with? And they write that down, and then they share it with me, and we find out the same things are in everybody's head. These are universal, internal, automatic, warning, discouraging, negative statements that everybody seems to share. So one good thing is you're not alone. If you're hearing those voices in your head, so is everybody else. And also the people external to you can be saying them as well, even in your closest group that around you, they can be saying those things too. And the thing to remember is none of that is true. All those statements are just maybe that might happen, but it's just an illusion. It's a make-believe. It's not real. So you can choose to believe it or not. We always have a choice. And what's their purpose? Let's talk about that. Well, if we were on the savannah, we were in prehistoric times, if we were cavemen, then we'd have to be worried about what was around the corner. It's a survival mechanism. And it actually, they're located in the survivor brain that we have, which is still called the prehistoric brain, the part of our brain that activates when we're in fight or flight. So it's a survival mechanism, which maybe when we're children, we really need to pay attention to, which is why our parents, threshold guardians, are warning us, don't touch the hot stove, look both ways before you cross the road. All those warnings we internalize, and some of them live on in us for longer than we really need them. It's like they didn't get the memo. Hey, I'm an adult now. I know not to put my hand on the stove. I know not to always look both ways. But they just keep going. And also too, I think that the purpose is don't rock the boat. We're maintaining here our culture. And if you leave and do something big and not what the rest of us are doing, well, what's going to happen to us? It's kind of threatening. And so that could be operating too. And that could be operating in your friends and family. They see you doing something big and out of the common culture and how things happen in your particular community. And they might feel threatened. They might feel, how's this going to impact us? Or maybe I should be doing it too, but I don't want to. And so it makes me feel really uncomfortable. So it can cause ripples and waves, and sometimes people can leave you and not be your friend anymore because you're changing, you're doing something different, and it feels so threatening, uncomfortable to them. And that can be a difficult thing when you leave your comfort zone, when you leave your normal life and do something different and go on your heroine's journey. It can be hard because sometimes you leave people behind. So again, threshold guardian. One way to work with them that I like to use is I use often a circle as a representation of our consciousness, what's within us. I have a whole webinar about the circle and what I call circle power and how to use it to actually create for yourself and to attract for yourself what you want. But in this case, I want to talk to you about using it as a mechanism to really make a decision about if you have this internal, which I believe you do, GPS system that guides you. And in effect, all the stuff inside that we tell ourselves is guiding us one way or the other. And we have a choice of what we want to guide us. What are those phrases we want to have in our circle, in our, what I would call your consciousness, your sacred circle. And so I ask you to start by drawing a circle on a piece of paper. And if you could find yourself, and you can pause me and go get all this, these supplies, but getting sticky notes, and they can be any size, and mine actually might be too big for this, but it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is think of a big goal. So remember I talked to you in the previous video about I had a big goal of writing a book. And immediately, oh my gosh, my survival brain saw the saber-toothed tiger and started with warning, warning, you'll never be able to do it, you won't finish it, you never stick to things, it'll be too hard, you're not smart enough. So think of a goal or a dream that you have. Draw your circle. Doesn't have to be fancy. Get some stickies and think of a dream or a goal, a big goal, what you want to do. Maybe it's you want to switch careers. You want to be a scientist instead of a shipbuilder. Maybe you want to start to have a new relationship and talk to somebody about that. Maybe just something, what's your dream? And then let's write down one on each sticky, the thoughts that come up. So for me, with my book, it's you won't finish it. And I put that in my circle because that's what's happening inside, is that these are the things that are going to drive my actions if I believe them. Your beliefs guide you like an internal GPS system. So another thing was not smart enough. That goes in the center. And all these things, what else? What else about me and my book? No one will read it. No one will read your book. I certainly got that one. And I actually got that externally as well as who would be interested, Susanna, in reading about that? An external person close to me said. So look at, already I have these. So I have this magical way of being guided in my life. By the way, I want you to know I took out the one. I no longer have, all the good ones are taken in college in my circle. But here's the one that was happening for me around the book. So I looked at that and I remembered, well, I have a choice what goes in there. I don't have to keep believing all this and having it in my circle and having it guide me. So one by one, you look at these and you ask yourself, can you let it go? Okay, I'm not smart. Do I really believe that? And do I really want that in my circle? I'm not smart. I know that I'm smart. I know that I'm smart. I'm taking it out. How about this one? Won't finish it. Do I want that in my circle? That I won't finish it? And maybe that's harder. I'm not so sure. I'm committed, but I'm going to finish it. So I take that out. So each one that you have in there, you ask yourself, can you let it go? And sometimes it's helpful to do this with a friend. And you actually have a friend ask you these questions and respond to them so that there's more of it's like the voice that's coming to you, your friend is asking it. So it sounds like it's the voice in your head. And then you get to say, no, the core of me knows I will finish it. No one will read your book. I don't believe it. Some people will read it. It's not no one. And I think of the farmer, maybe. But again, I don't want that in my circle. So then you eventually get, and maybe there's some things you can't let go of, but you get that stuff out of your circle and you clear it. And then you think, well, if what you focus on grows and what you focus on is what's in your circle, then what do you want to put in there? And then you do the opposite. Many people will read my book. I will finish it. Put inside on a new sticky what you do want in there guiding you. People will read it. I will finish it. I am smart enough. I will find a publisher. I will find an agent. I will get it done. Everything that you want to have happen, you put in the center of your circle. What you focus on grows, so you focus on what you want, not on the things that you don't want, which are now outside of your circle. It's a proactive method for dealing with your threshold guardians. And you will continue to hear what they have to say, but maybe you have to pull it out and say, okay, I'm not buying that, threshold guardians. I'm going to put in there what I'm buying is what I want. That's where I'm putting my focus. And deal with them proactively. Have something to replace their dire warnings, which you don't even know ever would happen. They don't know. There's some old recording that you're still running, which no longer, it's like my mother in the Second World War. It doesn't pertain to me. It's like the grandmother cutting the ends off the ham because her pan was too small. I mean, you know what you want and have that guide you. That's the lesson for today. So, dear heroines, thank you for being brave enough to be with me and come with me on this trip, on this journey. And remember, you are a heroine. And if you want to know more about this, how I use the circle and what I call circle power, I did a webinar on it, and it is in my bio. You'll find it, and I'd love you to listen. And I hope you'll join me for the next video, more about the threshold guardians and how that story has been with us for a long time, the heroine's journey, and how you see threshold guardians in movies and in books. And follow me on Instagram, and I look forward to continuing this with you. Thank you.